Sense is a financial education programme for schools. It's the biggest one in the UK. University towns are geared towards student discounts, so just seek them out and use them. Keep updating and revisiting your budget. Most banks will let you set up online or give you telephone banking. You can really keep on top of your budget that way.
This is Science on the High Street. Now we're going to start off with June Kenton, who's the founder of Rigby and Pella, which makes bras for the Queen.
To leave school at 16, I don't think that was such a great idea, but it hasn't stood me in any bad sense. I have to tell you why I'm here is because our business is a science. Why is it a science? Because we don't have a tape measure in the shop unless we're making things to measure. We do it solely by eye. So we have trainees who train for quite a few months before we ever let them loose on a customer. It's a marvellous thing to do, to be in a fashion context as well as a scientific context. I do suggest that you think outside the box and maybe think of something different to maybe you've ever thought of before.
What do you do in your industry to promote the idea that age is not a barrier to be successful or to be beautiful?
From a business point of view, a product point of view, a science point of view, we follow it and we love following age. There's no barrier there whatsoever.
I will have to work until I'm 67. There'll always be younger people and brighter stars. But the gift is within yourself. If you keep yourself relevant and you keep yourself wanted by your industry, then there'll always be a place for you.
How did you manage to develop your company to have clients such as the Queen?
When I bought the company, I hadn't realised the royal warrant didn't come automatically to me. So therefore, I was told that before I got the royal warrant, I had to go and meet the Queen and do a fitting.
The National Mail's Breaking the Mould initiative I think it's a fantastic opportunity for young girls. When I started out, there was no such thing as a climate change manager, and that's the job I'm doing now. So I think it's been great to expose them to lots of new ideas. We really need lots more women in science and engineering and technology to help us make this world a better place and deal with some of the challenges we face.
The highlight of Breaking a Mould event for me it's been an opportunity to talk to the next generation of chemists. So what I do is to ensure that Tesco branded products in household and health and beauty are safe, legal and of the right quality for our customers.
Top tips for students is know exactly how much money you've got coming in and also keep an eye on what's going out. Secondly, make sure that they don't waste their money, they take advantage of all the student offers. Never pay for things that they don't think they're going to be using. A final tip for people who are living away from home is that if they do run into any financial difficulty, keep in touch with their parents, keep in touch with their university welfare officers and keep in touch with their banks.
We've heard from women who have started small businesses, so women in business, and we've also had the opportunity to talk to the next generation of entrepreneurs as well, and that for us is really important. I spend a lot of time talking to small business owners and their accountants about how they manage their business finances. My top 5 tips when starting a business. Tip number 1, research your customers, understand who your market is. Top tip number 2, always plan ahead. Number 3, stay organised. Tip number 4, get as much advice as possible. Tip number 5, don't restrict your market. Don't restrict the products and services that you sell.
I think girls are still putting themselves into pigeonholes of perhaps doing something like textiles, but from maybe more of an artistic point of view rather than the scientific point of view, which is what we had sort of explored today.
I always wanted to do genetic engineering, so now I know that science doesn't necessarily lead to that, it can lead to different things.
like, you've all kind of had a little bit of a kind of dabble in media and stuff at some point. Are there any kind of wrong or right ways to go about kind of getting into that kind of industry or anything?
You can start as I did as a temp, and then you can be offered a job, and then you can move up. And if they really like you as a person, they'll encourage you. And also, make yourself indispensable. Do everything.
It's an absolute truism for me that every job I've ever taken, I wasn't quite sure that I knew I could do. And having a little bit of fear and a little bit of anxiety and your heart fluttering a bit makes a world of difference to what you contribute to that role, honestly.
When you're getting that feeling and you think, here's something that I really can't do, don't say anything. Take the leap. Women and girls, we're all very too keen to point out what we can't do in life. Boys don't do that. And if you want to know why boys get on, it's because they always look at the list of things that they can do. And they don't tell anybody about what they can't do, they just find somebody else to do it for them.
What advice have you got for someone like me who wants to break into the industry and maybe one day sing on the West End?
Take every opportunity that comes away. Keep practicing as a soloist. Decide where it is you want to be in a certain amount of time and think, how do I get there?
For me, breaking the mold event was gaining me more of my confidence back.
I think one thing that we should always take with us all the time is that nothing is impossible.
It's just always be yourself and just follow your passion.
I learned that you should just try, no matter what the consequences you get there.
That's true.
I think the Breaking the Mould event, it lets you realise that being a woman, you shouldn't think bad of it, you should think that you should be happy to be a woman.
Thinking outside the box is about thinking bigger than just the product that you're looking at and the process that you're looking at. So if you go to the first production and you've got a new product rolling off the line and it comes off and it's not quite the way you want, it's not the right colour maybe, or the foil's not quite the right look, you can't take the simple option and just not produce. You've got to think bigger. You've got to think about empty shelves, disappointed customers. You've got to think about how you're going to manage that situation rather than just walk away.
My reason for thinking outside of the box was actually to leave the group I was singing with and take that step to sing on my own as a solo artist, which was incredibly nerve-wracking, and it maybe wasn't the most conventional way to get where I wanted to be, but it's given me a lot of opportunities for the future.
Thinking outside the box for me is about fundamentally thinking about different ways of manufacturing things. So how do we make clothes from clothes that have previously been used? How do we fundamentally change how we make ready meals so that we're not using fossil fuel energy? How do we farm in different ways in the UK and overseas so that we're adapting to a changing climate and we're also reducing emissions?